Everyone, thanks for being patient with us.
Hi.
Hi. All right, so I'm April with the Cannabis Care Team, and today is World Autism Awareness Day. And these moms right here, Maddie and Krista, can share, a lot about how autism has affected their families, their children, and just them personally. So we are very, very happy that they decided to join us today. These are just two amazing advocates and activists, and just like these moms fight for their kids, more than I've ever seen any other moms do. So I'm so honored that you guys have joined us today.
Thank you.
so
We're
much.
excited. Yeah, we're excited to be here. So
Awesome. We were just talking a few minutes before this, and they were saying, what a busy month it is. Honestly, the whole month is Autism Awareness Month. So they have got lots of plans to just bring attention to that diagnosis and to really, get some things changed with your kiddos. I know you guys have struggled with a lot. So go ahead and introduce yourselves, if you don't mind. Tell us a little bit about both of your stories.
Okay, so I'm Maddie. I'm Maddie Badgewell and Krista. And we actually met a little over a year ago and decided to form our page OKanna Moms because we have two boys with severe autism. They're both Bubba's not really nonverbal anymore.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he's not.
I mean, he's always been diagnosed severe nonverbal, and that was his last evaluation from the psychologist was 2 years ago, and it was severe nonverbal. And he is actually answering questions and beginning to conversate with me. So yeah.
Yeah, she posted a video this morning having a conversation in the car. It was really awesome.
I can just see your face right now. It's amazing.
But we connected not just because of our kids, but also we both treat our children with cannabis. And at the time, you didn't really hear a lot about that. There's not a lot of there's a lot of parents who do treat their children with cannabis, but they're not open about it. And I feel like there's a lot of stigma still with it. So, and what I love about Krista most is that she's been using cannabis with her child more than I have with Caden. So with Caden, we went the pharmaceutical route with him getting diagnosed. We pretty much knew when he stopped talking around 20 months old what was going on. But he didn't get an official diagnosis until he was about 5. And then my daughter, who's 13 months younger than him, she got her diagnosis around the same time as well, and she was 4. So it was like boom, boom, boom. Wow. Both of your kids have autism. So, but we went the pharmaceutical route, and Kinsey, she only did pharmaceuticals for about a year. She is moderate functioning, so she can talk to you, and she's improved so much over this last year. But she has always been more independent than Caden. And so Caden, actually, we got to a point where we were hospitalized in April of 2019. We were in there for 24 hours because of his aggression. And unfortunately, it's not just the case in Oklahoma. It's a lot of states across our nation where we don't have resources for our children or us as parents and caregivers. And so our only option is to go to a hospital. And their only option is to give you sedation medicine. And that's what Risperdal is pretty much. It's a heavy antipsychotic. It's that one you hear about on the news that could cause breast development in boys. And pretty much what it does is it just sedates him. It doesn't solve anything. It doesn't help his brain heal or grow or develop. It just comatose pretty much. So we went from April to July of 2019, just either passed out asleep in crazy rages. He was eating constantly. So he gained 30 pounds in that amount of time. And it was just one of those moments where it was out of desperation. And I just kind of said, I don't really care what anybody thinks about me. I'm going to get a medical card. And so that kind of started our journey. And I used RSO to get him off of the Risperdal. And we ended up getting off of all of our medication. We started cannabis in July of 2019, and we were off of all of our pharmaceuticals by October of 2019.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, really the unfortunate thing is I hear that so often, is that people just have no other options. You know, this is not just for you know, pediatric patients or children diagnosed with autism. This is every single person. Unfortunately, it's because they have no other options, when it really should be one of the first options.
It really should.
Because just like you said, all these medications are not improving development, are not, you know, providing all of those other benefits that potentially plant medicine can. So
well, and I really think we have a problem when you're taking so much medication that you don't know what behavior is a side effect and what is actually coming from his autism. And so that makes it really difficult. And for me, seeing the change in him in that short amount of time and feeling that weight come off of my shoulders, where I don't have to worry that he's going to launch a picture frame down the stairs. My stuff's not getting broken. I have a chance to breathe and calm down and really think. And to me, it was that little epiphany that was like, why am I not talking about this? It felt almost selfish. It was like, I see such an amazing change in my child, and the quality, because when your child has autism, your whole family has autism.
Your whole family has autism.
It affects everything. It affects every aspect of your life. And that doesn't matter where you're at on the spectrum. I mean, because everybody has their struggles and everybody has their strengths. And so it was just something I felt like I needed to talk about, and I'm glad I did, because we ended up meeting not long after I started doing speaking engagements and things like that. And then I got to learn about her journey with Bubba, and your journey is really awesome.
Tell us about it.
Okay, so Bubba has always, since 2014, he has been in ABA therapy. He lost therapy years ago, and he ended up losing therapy over insurance, but for 11 months. And that was a really hard time for us. I had not tried pharmaceuticals on him or anything like that yet. But the behavior got really, really, really intense, especially with the loss of therapy. He had been in ABA therapy for a few years, 5 days a week. So when he lost it for 11 months, it was like his world was kind of upside down. So he became extremely aggressive, and we ended up going to his developmental pediatrician, and we were just kind of at wit's end. We didn't know what to do. He was gagging himself. He was trying to flush his hands down the toilet. He was pulling his hair out. He was pulling our hair out. He was, doing things that could really harm him. And so we went to her and we asked for advice. And our first option and only option really was to start a pharmaceutical, and it was a blood pressure medication to calm him. We did try it for a minute. We were on it for less than a month, and he went total, what I call zombie. He had a reaction to where he was just kind of lethargic. He would just stare off into space. There was no personality whatsoever. So we quickly weaned him off of it, and we struggled with it for a little bit longer, the aggression. And I had a friend, luckily, that had moved to Colorado when it had became legal there. And the friend reached out and offered some one-to-one teacher to try that, was medical marijuana. And of course I was skeptical, and I was scared, and I was like, that would make me a criminal, and I don't want to lose my kid, because God forbid when we lose our children,
the system isn't very kind
to them. And so it got to the point where it got really bad, and finally one day we decided it was time to take the leap. But what I didn't realize with that was you also give up a lot with that. Back then, before it was legal, you give up pretty much doctor visits, anything that's, unless it's absolutely necessary. So he didn't have a well child check for several years because he was on medical cannabis, and I had to hide that. But the improvement was so amazing that after even a couple of days on it, like I could not take him off of it. It was just so amazing. And since then, he has been on it for a little over 5 years, and he is doing well. He is verbal now. He is completely potty trained at 10 years old.
Yes,
That's
a big one.
He is reading, he is writing, he can tell time on analog and digital. He can tie his shoes. He can tie his shoes. My
10-year-old can't even do that.
And now he is starting to answer questions and conversate with me. And he has continued ABA therapy. He was out for 11 months, and he since went back, and he continues ABA therapy. I do think a lot of it is ABA therapy, but I don't believe we'd be where we are without cannabis. It has been able to, I've been able to keep him off any pharmaceuticals whatsoever. He takes nothing but his oils, and he has reached such success. It's really amazing.
I have goosebumps, and I just, that just makes me so happy for you guys as mothers. My son needed cannabis, back in the day, before it was legal as well, right? And I was really, really scared to share that with anyone. And I did feel the same way when I was hearing stories from other parents, or just other people who are really suffering. I want to share this with them. And I finally did start sharing it with them. And, it was like, this is my responsibility as a registered nurse. I care more about helping people than, someone finding out that, my son is doing 90% better because of medical cannabis. And it's so empowering to be able to finally share that story with others. So I know that, every patient is different. I know I talk a little bit about like how individualized cannabis can be. And of course I always say, hey, talk to your doctor. I just have to say that as a nurse, as we're aware, this is just for education purposes and all that jazz. But I'm just curious, and you don't have to provide too much specific information, but it sounds like you're using an oil for your kiddo. Are they all one-to-ones, or what do you guys what's the schedule like with that?
And it's not just as easy as here, go find your child an oil, and this is going to be a miracle. There's a lot of journaling to it. There's a lot of keeping track of what you're trying. There's self-education. Yeah. There's a lot to it. You really have to understand. You really have to understand it to be able to journal it properly. I can't talk. It's okay. So that you can find what works best for your child, because they're all different, and one might work better for the other. Like Bubba, he does best on a 1-to-1. Yeah. And he does better on either that or on a sativa, because sativas bring him down. As to where Caden
does really good. I think more with hybrids and indicas. However, the Blue Dream strain has always done really good for him, and that's high in the myrcene terpene. I say the terpene names wrong.
That's okay. No, you said it just fine. You said it wrong.
But without journaling and understanding it, I wouldn't have found out that high levels of pinene give him a headache. And so if you look at other ones, like a lot of kids have seizures. A lot of kids with autism also have seizure disorders. And the terpene eucalyptol, that will cause you to have seizures. So it's very important for you to understand what terpenes are, what cannabinoids are, how to utilize different things, because some people's CBD might make them extra sleepy. Sorry, the cat is on the table. So some kids, high CBD might make them extra sleepy, where other kids, that's enough to relax. Yeah. So we always recommend, if you're going to start cannabis and you're going to get a medical card, that you really need to have a good CBD on hand, because it is very easy to over medicate, especially in the beginning when you're testing things out and trying. We always say start at the lowest possible. Now, with our kids being as picky as they are, oils work best. But there's a lot of other kids who can do edibles, and they can do different things like that. the best way to like save money would be to buy flour and make your own oils yourself, but that's intimidating as well.
Yeah.
So really it's just going to come down to what you find works. For Caden, we use the True Medex focus tincture. And so in the morning, he takes a 1/2 ml of that. And he doesn't have anything. Sometimes he'll go all day without any THC. But then, you know, we all have our good days, our bad days. So on bad days, we'll microdose THC and we'll start, you know, whenever he needs it around 2:00. And we do that Monday through Friday. Saturday is our break day. So Saturday, he doesn't normally get anything unless it's just a really bad day. Because, you know,
Yeah.
if we have a storm coming in, that barometric pressure drops, we're going to have a bad day. So Saturday's usually our break day and he doesn't get anything. And then on Sundays, we use, I like to stick with the same brand, like one brand. So I use True Medex CBD as well. They're Rest and Relax. So on Sunday, that's all he gets. And then we start back over. So, but it's not like that just came to me overnight. Like
Right.
we started with 1 ml of focus and then went up to 1.5 and realized, oh, that's way too much, and went back down. I think we took a break on the focus for about 2 weeks and then started it back up. So it really is observing your child, watching their behaviors, making note, which we do anyways, you know.
Right. Exactly. Because you're moms. Well,
Yeah.
I love that you mentioned journaling a couple times, and I think this is a perfect opportunity to share. You know, when we've been talking to you for a while, both of you, and you know, we've had our treatment journal that I really created for, you know, the patients I work with, and realized this is probably not the best journal for, you know, parents to use for their kiddos. So Maddie and Krista have been working with us, and we're hoping to get, you know, this is my journal with some stickers on it. This is a draft of theirs, but we're really hoping, you know, to get one of these out very soon that's specific to, you know, for parents looking for the behaviors that you are, all these behaviors that you notice for special needs kids or kids diagnosed with autism, because it is so overwhelming. I mean, even, you know, for just individuals trying to treat themselves, but when you're trying to treat a kiddo and, you know, their bodies are a little bit smaller, and those, you know, those terpenes and those different strains can affect them a little bit more. So it's so important to know, you know, what you're giving and what the results are. Just because, you know this, we all know this, that after you've been doing something, you know, for, you know, trying different things for a month or so, you don't remember what you tried 2 weeks ago and if it worked, or you know, so we're super excited. And then of course, you know, we really made those journals to help people. We don't make any money on those. And we're just, you know, we do sell them for a little bit more so we can donate to a nonprofit. And we're going to donate to the nonprofit that you two have recently created. So tell us, I know I kind of jumped around, but I do want you to tell people about, you know, what your goal is or what your vision is for this nonprofit.
Honestly, like right now, our main goal is to help parents and caregivers get access to not just information, but accurate information and education about how to utilize cannabis as medication for their child. So that is helping them cover costs to get their children their medical cards, covering costs to help them do classes. You know, if they just spent a bunch of money and made a tincture that's not working at all, you know, if we have the funds to help you get something new and try something different, like we're going to do that. We can't help everybody, and we understand that, but we're trying to just do a little bit to where the people that we help can go out and help more. Because that's what it is. I mean, it's a community, and it's people talking together, and everything that I know I wouldn't have unless somebody took the time to sit down and talk to me and share with me and help me. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're just trying to keep it where we're not going broke doing it.
Yeah. So yeah, we want to support you and help you. And I think that there's probably some other things that we can do together to support your mission, because we want to help you do that, because you're absolutely right. Teach one, you know, do one. I mean, it's very important to do that and spread the word.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, what?
Is it
I hope
is
that's
it
not a
mom's?
connection.
Oh,
Is it mom's?
Is it your mom's?
I don't know.
Are we breaking up?
I don't think you're breaking up. Am I breaking up?
That's what we were wondering. Hang on just a second.
Oh,
There we go.
Is that better? Still breaking up.
What's it doing?
I don't know. Where's your internet at?
There it goes.
Is that better?
I don't actually see the live video. Oh, there you are.
We're still live, but I think it was
Okay.
our internet went a little wonky for a second.
Okay. Well, I can hear you just perfect, and the Zoom recording can probably hear you just perfect. So we are going to record this and get it uploaded to
Okay.
the Cannabis Care Team YouTube channel, and then we'll share it with you guys so you can upload it to whatever too. But yeah, we
Okay.
definitely want to support your mission, and I know that you ladies have so much going on with just being parents and moms of your kiddos, and now you're wanting to help all these other people, and just that's amazing. So I'm not sure if you guys have heard of Hariom Hemp products, but Hariom, it was developed by a fellow nurse in Missouri who has a special needs child, and she has the most amazing like CBD products that contain or bath products especially. So she's got some bath bombs that I really like, some bath salts, and some CBG. It's actually my favorite CBG. So we're going to give you guys, the two of you, some stuff so you can treat yourself. Hopefully, if you ever get a
Awesome, thank
night where you get
you.
to take a bath by yourself for 10 minutes, just as a thank you for being awesome moms and, all the work that you do.
Thank
But
you.
yeah, so if you're not familiar with her products, definitely check them out.
Yeah, we
They're
love that.
great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
we're very appreciative. I think anytime you can get a bath alone to relax
right.
is a good day.
Yeah, no, my kids are finally at that age and at that point. So I know how good just that, 20 minutes makes me feel. So I hope that you guys get that. So we actually had some questions submitted in
Okay.
advance that I do want to ask because I think these are awesome questions.
Okay.
So we had a mom reach out to us who's in Oklahoma. She's a son diagnosed with autism, and she wants to know budget wise, what can she expect if she looks to cannabinoids like CBD or THC? What are your thoughts on that? And I know it's very individualized.
It is very hard because the market's always changing and there's, what works for one won't work for another. And so I know a lot of these parents are so used to going to a pharmacy and they're paying a copay and they're getting their medication and they know it'll last an entire month. And that you don't get that with cannabis, unfortunately, at this point. I think we will get to a point where we can get CBD and certain things like that covered for our kids, especially. But until we get there, really the best thing you can do is develop a good relationship with a dispensary that you like. Tell them what you're going through and what's happening. A lot of these places will give you a discount.
They will.
Yeah, they will. They want to help you. And they'll help you do stuff like that. The other thing is if you can make your own tinctures and edibles and things like that, you will save a lot of money. You can buy the flower and then you can make it into an oil and then you can break that down and make it into different little things. So that's another way to save some money. I also growing, you can grow your own medicine. If you're a patient like us and also a caregiver, you can, have a certain amount of plants in your home at a time, and growing those. So there's ways to cut corners, but it is expensive. Like there's no getting around that. I think on a good month, with me using the same True MedX product, like I know how long that bottle is going to last me a whole month. So I know that I'm spending at least $100 a month on that. So there's that. And then your THC, if I'm gonna make something, I usually buy a half an ounce to an ounce at a time, and I will infuse that into it just depends, 4 to 8 ounces of oil. I have a magic butter machine, and
But that's just because we have been through, we still journal all the time, but we've been through a lot of trying different things in the beginning. That's because we kind of know now what works. Like I bought an ounce of Flow OG for Bub to make a tincture, and that was $200. And so I knew that in Oklahoma, sorry. But that was, my cost, and then Bubba also uses the Focus, so I know my costs on that. But I think really in the beginning, it's so hard to tell because you got to figure out what's gonna work first. But we do also recommend CBG along with CBD.
Yes, CBG
both of the boys take that. So
yeah, it's one of my favorite cannabinoids. But great tip on developing a relationship with the dispensary. And yeah, it's just something that a lot of you just really can't budget for. I've got a couple patients who have really found this works for them. And, so I'm in Missouri, I come to Oklahoma all the time, and I'll see you guys, I think, in about a week. But, this patient called me and they said, hey, this is costing me like $12 a day. I'm like, and this was an elderly person who was on a really tight budget. And, they're like, I can't do this, it's too expensive. And so that's really, really unfortunate. So I think that we will see things change. I mean, especially in the next 5 to 10 years. I'm so happy that you guys live in Oklahoma, because access, I mean, there's so much available down there, and you really are able to get a good price. So that's amazing. But that's a great question. I think that it's a one that a lot of people, they don't realize until they go into that dispensary. Like, oh no, I mean, when I do, I'm like, oh no, I'm probably going to spend a couple $100 here today. And I've done it a lot. Sometimes I don't like those products that I buy. So it's just really nice to, have people you can work with to know kind of what ratios may be better to start with and things like that. And then we had a question from my grandma in Missouri. She's has a grandson diagnosed with autism, and she was curious how you guys manage selective eating. So she says that a big issue right now with her grandson is, so he's only eating one food, only eating at home, and only eating with his hands, which becomes an issue for, like a large family, and of course could potentially, be a health issue. So how do you guys, or how have you seen like those behavioral issues managed?
I mean, this is a pretty typical, I don't want to say typical because nothing with autism is typical, but selective eating and what you're describing is something that a lot of us go through. I mean, even now I still have issues with Caden where he wants a bowl of ice cream and he'll just grab the ice cream with his hand and eat it out of his hand. So honestly, this is one of those things that therapy is going to be the most beneficial with, because repetition is big with our kids. And you have to do something, what is it, like 20 times to develop a habit normally for a neurotypical person. So for an autistic individual, it's going to take a lot longer than that. And it's constant redirecting and things. And until then, you do have to kind of find a way to work around it. If you know you're going to be somewhere, try and wake them up a little bit earlier, get them to eat something before you go, and then, come back home and have a plan or something like that. But don't stop trying. Like when you're out and about, still offer food, still give them things, because eventually one day they will. And the thing with autism is our children are teachable. They are very teachable. They do understand consequences. You can absolutely have expectations for them. And so really therapy is going to be the biggest thing. Now we do absolutely believe in ABA therapy, and ABA isn't for everybody. It's not going to be for every person with autism. And our ABA therapy center is very open with us. We get to decide what behaviors we want to work on, because at the end of the day, we don't want to change our child. We want to help them be a better version of themselves. And nobody wants their child to, you know, be hurting themselves or damaging property or things like that. But when it comes to eating, you have to be a little selective because you don't want to interrupt them so much that it just completely throws them over.
Yeah.
You know, we had an issue at school with Caden when he was a kid because he wanted to open his grilled cheeses and eat them from the inside out, and his teacher wanted him to take bites. To me, that's not an argument. It doesn't
Right.
matter how he eats his food as long as he eats his food.
Yeah.
Well, when you've seen him go, you know,
Yeah.
a long period of time without eating, if you disturb it,
Yes.
you know, you're at that point, you're kind of like, just, you know.
Right.
Yes.
Like,
Yes. So
I mean, no, I absolutely,
yes.
yeah.
But if you don't have access or you're not comfortable with ABA therapy, that's perfectly okay. Occupational therapy is really great at helping with some of those maladaptive behaviors. But really, it's just going to be repetition. So if you know that he only eats one food, put that one food on a plate, but put something else next to it. You know, Caden, when we're introducing new foods, he always has to see it for a while, then he'll touch it, then he'll smell it, then he'll eventually taste it. But it's a very long progression.
Right.
If you're worried about nutrition deficiencies and things like that, I would definitely go to your physician because a lot of times they have things you can add to their drinks to get that nutrients and stuff. But really, that's just one of those things that's going to take a lot. And even when you do, it's still constant redirection.
Yeah. No, I, you know, we align very well because, you know, so many patients who call me, you know, it takes so much more of this holistic approach, and that you too know exactly what this takes for, you know, for kiddos with autism. You know, with me, sometimes we're talking about like diet and exercise or things to, you know, address autoimmune conditions that don't include cannabis. I mean, it's a whole big picture, and there are just so many different ways that you can tackle this. I think you two are just amazing resources. I want to make sure that everyone knows how to contact you and where to follow you and all that, because I know that, of course, you're very busy moms and you're, you know, you launched this great nonprofit. You know, but just so people can follow you and see your story and learn a little bit more about you and see what resources you have, I think is going to be great. So give us that information.
So right now, a lot of our stuff is on Facebook and Instagram, and you can find us through OKanna Moms. We don't have anything set up right now as far as like page-wise for the nonprofit, because that is separate. So it's OKanna Moms, but our nonprofit is the OKanna Moms Family Foundation. So if you ever want to get a hold of us, you can look us up on Facebook, message us through there. Our Instagram, we also have an email, okannamoms@gmail.com. And eventually, at some point, we would like to have a website. We're kind of in the midst of working on that and under construction.
Yeah. Well, I think that we could probably, you know, hopefully, you know, get someone who's maybe seen this video to offer some help or some tips or some guidance on that, I hope, because what you're doing is amazing. But the OKanna Moms is okay, like Oklahoma, OKANNA. Yeah, gmail.com. Or I contact you guys through Facebook Messenger all the time, and they get right back to me. So that's awesome. So yeah, I think that I've taken up a lot of your time. I know it's a Friday and you have busy days, and it looks like you may not have kiddos around. So I want you to enjoy yourselves or take a break. But thank you so much for answering those questions and for everything that you do. Again, April is going to be a very busy month, not only, you know, for Autism Awareness Month, but, you know, all those cannabis related events. So I know I'll see you ladies next weekend. I'm super excited about that. Thank you. You know, so much love to you, and just keep it up. And
me too. We're really excited to be working with you guys on the journal, and we're just happy to support other organizations that are focused so much on education and helping patients. And people, so
well, that's where it starts, you know, for people to really get better, they have to have the information they need to get there. So all right, ladies, happy Friday, happy weekend. And thanks for
happy World Autism Day.
Yes.
Yes.
Bye.
Oh, we got to see your shirts first.
Oh, yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
You're the best mamas.
Always. It's 365 in our houses.
Yes.
Yes.
All year long.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll talk
Bye.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.